Hi, I'm Prathamesh Bagre back with another video on AutoCAD new features. This time we'll have a look on the key new features of AutoCAD 2020. Since AutoCAD is a very powerful and a mature drafting tool, the scope for adding new features from scratch is very limited. But there's always room for improvement in the existing commands, and Autodesk has done a great job in polishing and refining of the existing commands to increase the productivity and efficiency of the software and its users on a whole. So let's have a look on the AutoCAD 2020 key new features list. The first one is Quick Dimension. Quick Dimension has been added in the Measure Geometry command, which is one of the most used commands for measuring of temporary dimensions. So we'll have a look on it in the details as we'll progress through the video. The next one is Insert or Block Palette, which is the new way of adding blocks into the drawings. So again, it has been welcomed very nicely with the new 2020 release, and the users have liked it a lot. So we'll have a look on that as well. The next one is redesigning of Purge command. So Purge has been used quite a lot or is used quite a lot for streamlining of your drawings and its projects. So we'll be having a look on that as well. The next one is a small update in DWG Compare. Now if you have watched our previous video on AutoCAD 2019 features, then you will find that in that video we had covered up the DWG Compare, which was released in the last version. So again, on users' demand, Autodesk has tweaked a little bit on the DWG Compare in this version as well. So we'll be having a look on that as well. And the last one is OneDrive box and Dropbox access to the AutoCAD web users. So if you are one of the subscribers of AutoCAD and you're using the AutoCAD web version as well, then you will find the access of to save your files and to also open your files from OneDrive box or Dropbox. So again, this has been where Autodesk has collaborated with these companies to streamline the entire process of accessing and saving of your files through the cloud platforms. So let's progress to the details of each and every tool. We'll start with the Quick Dimension first. So as I said, the Quick Dimension has been added in the Measure Geometry command. So let's first access the Measure Geometry command, which you can find in the Home tabs, Utilities panel. So here we have the Measure Geometry command. Now in this list you will find that there is one big update, and that's a Quick Dimension. Now Quick Dimension helps users measure dimensions faster than ever before by just hovering off your crosshair onto the geometry. It helps in measuring distances between the parallel lines, like in this case. So here you can see that the measurement between the two sides of the rectangle is 127, and also measures the distances or the lengths of the sides that are under consideration. Now if you look at the current state, here the two sides of the rectangle are highlighted in blue, and also one side of the triangle, which is on the left of the screen, is getting highlighted. That's mainly because all these three segments are intersecting with the extents of the Quick Dimension tool. So the best part is you don't require any clicks to measure all these dimensions. In case of angles, the angles are directly displayed between the lines. So whichever lines are getting intersected with the Quick Dimension tool's extents are getting highlighted, and the angle between them and the lens are also displayed. If it's a 90-degree intersection of lines, then you will find them highlighted with the square or the 90-degree symbol, which is the global practice to denote 90-degree angle. In case of circles and arcs, it highlights the center position as well as its radius. Let's try that on the arc as well. So let me draw an arc, and let's use the Quick Dimension tool. And there you go, it highlights the center as well and also its radius. Now as I said, it measures distances between the parallel lines. So yes, it does, but it does not measure the distances between non-parallel lines. So in case of the sides of one of the sides of triangle and one of the sides of rectangles, the distance is not been measured because it's not uniform, but it does measure the lengths of those individual sides. So this is one of the major update that you get in the quick dimension tool, and this has been welcomed by the users and it's highly appreciated. So this was all about the quick dimension tool. It helps in eliminating clicks and any type of selection to measure dimensions. Let's progress to the next update, and that's insertion and the block palettes. So let me open a new file where we have some pre-made blocks. So I have an architectural plan in front of me. Now in the previous or in all our lower versions, the classic way of insertion of blocks or drawings is where you get a dialog box and you can browse for the file, or if you have blocks in that file, then you get a drop down menu from where you can pick. So Autodesk has kept the older version also. So if you are much fond of the older version and you still want to use it, you cannot type the insert, that is the I keyboard shortcut, but you can type the classic insert as the tool, and this is the traditional or the older way of inserting of blocks or inserting of drawings. So where you can browse for the file from which you want to combine. You can specify the insertion point by clicks on the screen, or you can specify the coordinates. You can specify the scale, the rotation angle and its units, and whether you want the drawing or the block to be placed in an exploded state, so you get a checkbox. All these options are the same in the new version of the insertion tool as well, but there is a big change. So let's have a look on that change. Let me type I for insert and press enter or spacebar to execute, and here you get the list of blocks in the current drawing, the recently accessed blocks or recently placed or inserted blocks, and blocks from other drawings as well. So right now there are no blocks from other drawings, but we'll see how to access blocks from other drawings as well. So first of all, let's have a look on the blocks from the current drawing and let's see how we can place them. So one of the traditional ways is you get a list in the insert menu that we have in the blocks palette, from where you can load blocks. But the best way is in this case is that you get a thumbnail where you can insert blocks. So first of all is you get couple of insertion options. So if you want to specify the insertion point on the screen, then you can check this option, or else let's say you just want to place it. Let's say you click on the thumbnail and you specify it on the screen, so the insertion point has been mentioned. So this is another way. But let's say you want to place it exactly on the coordinates, so you have the X, Y, Z positions, then you can type them over here and you can right click on the thumbnail and say insert. It will insert the block exactly at the coordinates that have been mentioned. So let's try that. Right now the coordinates mentioned are 0, 0, 0. We'll right click on it and say insert. It is asking for the attributes, which I'll skip for now, and we'll find that the block has been placed on the origin. So this is the new way for insertion. There are other options, the options like rotation, scaling of blocks. So if you check these options, you will get to mention scale and rotation angle on screen. Otherwise you can just right click on them and mention the scales and the rotation angles. The biggest update and the one that I have liked is repeating of placements of blocks, so repeat placement. So one of the drawbacks of the older versions is each time you have to insert a block, you need to go to the insert list or through the insert option. But now with the new tool, we have the repeat placement option, which allows you to repeat the placement of blocks as many times as you want, so you don't exit the insertion to command and just keep on continuing with it. So this is one of the very good tools that we have. So let me just try placing a proper block. The name of the block is chair 2, so that's fine. We'll just have a look on the scale. So I'll just right click and say properties, and the scale XYZ is 1.6. So let us try that. I'll say scale 1.6. I will click, and you'll find that the block is of the exact same size. So I'll click it over here. I'll skip the attributes for now, and that's how you can load the blocks. The next option that we get is in the recent tab, where you get the list of all the blocks from irrespective of the drawing or the projects. So let's say you have inserted blocks from project 1 and you have inserted blocks from project 2, and now both the projects are closed and you now want to insert those blocks into project 3. You can still do that by finding them in the recent list. So recent list is basically a history of blocks that are inserted irrespective of the projects and irrespective of the AutoCAD sessions as well. So that's a very good update. Next is other drawings. So if you want to load blocks from other drawings which are not currently open, so you can still do that. You can browse for those drawings by clicking on this 3 dots icon over here. That's the browse button, and you can look for that block. Let's say in the Purge drawing, so I have one block that's there in the Purge drawing. Oh, I think there is no block, so I'll just try with the version 2. Click on open. Oh, I'll remove the filters. So yes, so now you can find that all the blocks from the project version 2 are in display over here. So let's say you want any one of the blocks from that drawing, you can do that without opening of those drawings. So that's a very good way of combining blocks. In the older versions we used to do this through the design center or through the insert option, of course. So this is a new way, a much efficient way. The next one is if you want to change the thumbnail displays, then you can do that from here. So you can change the size of the icons. So you have extra large icons, medium, small icons, and a details list where it shows the displays, the names of the blocks, and whether it's carrying an annotative property or a dynamic property. So you can have that list as well. And finally we have the list of all the blocks and names. So this is one of the ways to combine to customize the displays of the thumbnails. And the final one that we have is filtering of the blocks. So if you have if you want to filter blocks based on the name, so you can just type the initials and will list all the blocks as per the name matchings. So right now I've typed just alphabet C, and all the blocks with C as the starting letter in the names are displayed over here. So that's a very good way for inserting of blocks in 2020 version. The next one is Purge command. So Purge is one of the highly rated tools for cleaning up of your files and streamlining of your projects. So let's see what's new in that. The way to access Purge command is by typing PU as the keyboard shortcut. So let's type that. One of the main updates is you find that the purgeable items and non-purgeable items now are listed separately, so they are not combined. And in the purgeable items, let's have a look on the new interface. I'll try purging one of the blocks. So let's say basin and basin 1. So I'll try to purge basin 1. Now when I select the block, it shows a preview. Again, for the size of the preview, you can customize it by just dragging through this swatch over here, and also gives other options like confirming each item to be purged. So if you want to be extra careful before purging of the blocks, then or any element for that matter, you can check this option. So if this option is on and you select any one of the blocks by checking it in the list and click on purge, it gives a pop-up whether you want to purge or skip this. So if you want to do this step each time, you can check this option. The next update is whether you want to purge the nested items as well. So if you have nested blocks, that is blocks inside existing blocks, so you can even purge or delete those sub blocks if they are not used in the drawing. So that's a very good way of cleaning up the drawing. Next we have is a purging of zero line geometry, so like lines, arcs and polylines as well. So if you want to purge those kind of objects, you can do that. And any of the orphan data. Orphan data is mainly the obsolete data. So if you are purging, if you want to purge any line types that are not currently in use, maybe from DGN files, then you can check this option also. The other option is if you want to purge the entire list of categories, so you can check the entire category name and purge it. So that's another efficient way of purging fast. So that's all in the purgeable items. Let's have a look on the non-purgeable items. And one of the main highlights in the non-purgeable items is the possible reasons section. Let's have a look on that. Since we have worked with the chair 2 block, let's try purging that block. So one of the main updates is of course the preview, but the possible reasons as well why the block cannot be purged. So right now if you look in the list, it is inserted in the drawing. See block insertions below. So let's try have a look on the block insertions. So here you can find the name of the block, its size, how many of these blocks are currently in the drawing, and where are they located. So you can find them or locate them in the drawing through this option. So 2 of them are on layer annotation of tables and 12 of them are on the iPhone chair. So 2 of them are the ones that I've placed right now and 12 of them are previously placed. If you want to locate them in the drawing, then you can click on this option. So I'll click on this select objects button and it should zoom in to those 2 blocks. So one of them is at the origin and one of them is over here. So if you have placed any blocks or any elements by mistake and you want to purge it, then you can delete them by selecting through the select objects item. So this again a very efficient and a productive way to clean up of your drawings. So that's all in the purge command. Let's have a look on the last and the final update in this video as well, and that's the DWG Compare. So in the previous version, that's 2019, a collaborate tab was added where we had the DWG Compare feature. There's a slight update in this. Let's click on the DWG Compare. It will ask you first of all to select a drawing which you want to compare. So right now I'm in E project and let's try comparing it with E project version 2. I'll click on open, and the first change is if you have worked on 2019 and used the DWG Compare, you will find that the comparison is created in a new window or in a new tab. So that's the first change in 2020. There is no creation or opening of a new separate tab. All the drawings are compared over here itself in the current window, and if you want to have a look on the objects from the current drawing and from the other drawing, then you can click on the settings icon over here. So the ones that are currently not in the drawing are highlighted in red, and the ones that are there in the drawing are highlighted in green, and ones which are common to both of the drawings are highlighted in gray. You also get the options of cloud display, so you can change the color of the revision clouds and also the shapes as well. If you want to consider hatches also for the comparisons, you can check them. So it will also consider hatches, and if you don't want a text or you want them, you can check this as well. So everything is the same except that there is a floating toolbar and there is no opening of a new tab. But there is one slight change, and that's mainly if you want to document this particular state of comparison for the use. So in the earlier versions, since it would open a new tab, we could save it as a drawing, but here you don't require that. Instead we have this option of exporting the snapshot. So basically it exports the image from here. It will continue and it will save it as a separate drawing. So let's just save it, and now it opens up. And now if you look at it, you will find that still it's in the comparison. I'll just close it, and it saves it in the exact same state where we left it. So that's a good way for documenting it. So this is one of the updates. Let us continue with the updates with the DWG Compare update, and one of them is, and the last one, that is, let's say you want to import the object from the other drawings. So right now there is one chair which is slightly at a different location. There is one chair over here which is at a different angle. So if you want to bring those changes into the current drawing, then you can click on this option, that is import objects, and all the objects, let's just click on them. I'll say this red chair, enter, and now you'll find that it's highlighted in gray, means it is common to the current drawing as well as the drawing under comparison. Let's click on close, that is exit compare, and now you'll find that there are two different objects or two different chairs in the same place. So one is from the current drawing and one from the other drawing that we imported. So that's a very good way of bringing all the revisions. So this will help users in the later stage of the projects where the revisions are happening and you want to update your old file with the new revisions as well. So that's it in the revision DWG Compares tool, and that's it from the list of 2020 features. I hope you like the video. Do subscribe to our channel and follow our Grey Edge website, which is there in the link is there in the description. This is Prathamesh signing off for the day. Thank you.